Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show. And in today's episode, I got a pretty interesting topic for you guys. And the topic is the one thing Kawhi has in common with Jordan, Kobe, and the King LeBron James. So that's what I want. That's the topic I want to get into today. But if this is your first time to the channel, this is Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything on hot sports topics, classic debates, NBA news, and we just give you our take on things as we see it happening in the world of sports. So if this is your first time, welcome to the channel. Also, if this is your first time, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. If you want to check this out, you can also check it on the Dreamerspro Podcast, which we have linked in the description below. And we're also running a poll for premium program we're thinking of launching in the future. So you can just go ahead and leave a vote on that. We're going to link that in the description below. And with that being said, let's just get straight into the topic. So I thought this was a super interesting question. Now, why did this question come to me in the first place? So for those of you guys who've been following the channel or have seen some of our content in the past, all of you would know that Kawhi Leonard has been my favorite basketball player currently playing, although my favorite NBA player of all time is Kobe Bryant. But Kawhi Leonard has just been my guy for the last few years, up until I think his last 2 years in San Antonio when I saw him playing there. And I was just like, man, this guy really reminds me a lot of Kobe. And then when I found out that Kobe Bryant actually worked with him after Greg Popovich suggested to Kobe just stay in the air of Kawhi Leonard during All-Star break. And from that point, he started working with Kawhi, at least on his offensive skills, polishing his offense. And he came back the following season, and he was playing just like Kobe. And I remember a game that the San Antonio Spurs were playing against the then Sacramento Kings, which featured their star center at the time, DeMarcus Cousins. And after the game, the San Antonio Spurs won that game, and DeMarcus Cousins during the press conference in the locker room, they asked him about Kawhi, and he was like, man, he's really, really good, man. He's really good. I heard he'd been working out with Kobe, and it looks like it really worked out. So for me, that's when I really started falling in love with Kawhi's game. And since then, I thought he was sensational. I remember the year when they were going against the eventual champions with the Golden State Warriors. And I think Kevin Durant was on that team, and Zaza Pachulia totally took him out of that series in the Western Conference Finals. And up until that point, they were leading the eventual champions, the Golden State Warriors, by like 20+ points in the first half. And he went down and they lost that series. A lot of people say that, hey, listen, Kawhi would never have won that championship in Toronto had he not had he not had the fortune of having Kevin Durant be injured and Klay Thompson be injured. And I could say the same thing. Maybe those guys never made it to the finals if the San Antonio Spurs were to go ahead and beat them, because they certainly did have the best coach at the time in Greg Popovich. So that's kind of where my story was with Kawhi. And then eventually he went on to go win his NBA title again with the Toronto Raptors last season. And so what happened? He won that championship with the Toronto Raptors, and they basically came from behind. Although I think they were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference last season, they weren't the favorites, at least to come out of the East. Everyone was pointing towards the Milwaukee Bucks, and in some cases, some people were pointing towards the Philadelphia 76ers. And I remember going into that series with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Toronto Raptors. Some people were picking the Philadelphia 76ers because they just felt that the combination of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler, that these guys were going to be able to overcome what the Toronto Raptors had going. And that game went to an amazing Game 7 series in which Kawhi Leonard hit that shot that we can all remember that really just propelled him into a level of fame that he never had before. And then they eventually went on to win that championship. So what happened? Over the offseason, Kawhi Leonard decided that he wanted to move to go play in LA with the Los Angeles Clippers. And going into the offseason, after he was the final free agent that decided where he wanted to go play with the Clippers. And then he was able to just sort of, take Paul George out of his contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder to come join him to be his running mate. Going into this season currently, a lot of us were excited, and a lot of people thought that the Clippers were going to be the best team. And a lot of people thought they were going to win the championship. And going into the playoffs, a lot of people held that pick, including myself. And I had picked them all throughout the playoffs. But then what ended up happening? They ended up going into the playoffs and they lost. But they lost in a very embarrassing Game 7. And for me as a Kawhi Leonard fan, that really, it stung to see him go out that way. So now that they're out of the playoffs and they're no longer here and we're looking towards next season, at least that's when people that support Kawhi, at least the Clippers, are looking towards next season, it made me begin to think. And what I'm starting to think is it made me to think of other great players that had adversity and what happened with them. Okay. And I thought of some key people. One of them is LeBron James. We all know LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time, a 3-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP winner, a 4-time regular season MVP winner, a 16-time All-Star. He's been on, 15 All-NBA teams, 16 All-NBA selection for teams. He's been on 5 All-Defensive teams, 6 All-Defensive teams. He was a Rookie of the Year, led the league in scoring in 2008, and also won the assist title. He led the league in assists in the year to 2020. So that was LeBron James had a fantastic career. If we look at Michael Jordan, 6-time Finals MVP, 6-time champion, 5-time regular season MVP winner, 3-time All-Star Game MVP winner. He's been on 10 All-First teams, 11 All-NBA teams altogether. He's been a Defensive Player of the Year. He won that award in 1988. He won 10 scoring titles. He was also the NBA Rookie of the Year in 1985. And he's also led the league in steals 3 separate times. And that's why Michael Jordan is the GOAT in a lot of people's minds, including mine. And of course, Kobe Bryant, my favorite basketball player of all time. He's a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, regular season MVP winner in 2008. He's been an 18-time All-Star. He's been a 4-time All-Star Game MVP. He's been on 15 All-NBA teams. That's Kobe for you. Been on 9 All-First defensive teams. That's Kobe Bryant for you. Been on 12 All-NBA defensive teams, and he led the league in scoring 2 times, and he has the second highest scoring output in the history of the NBA with 81 points. Now, what do all of these players have in common? Okay, these are the obvious things that you may think Kawhi Leonard has in common with these guys, which is true. But the thing that's not obvious is adversity. Okay, all of these guys, I've noticed, have had one moment in their career with extreme adversity when the entire sports world was looking at them. Let's look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had the untimely passing of his father, who was murdered. He decided to leave basketball in the height of his prime. I think he won his first title at 28 years old. At the height of his prime, at the end of his first three-peat, left the NBA to go play baseball. That was a very tough moment for him. Think about all of the media circus that surrounded Michael Jordan at that point. Might have been a low point for him, although he was a 3-time champion, but think about what happened with his dad. Left the sport, came back. I think he came back midway through, one of the seasons they were playing. Came back with the number 45. Hadn't played a full season. Lost it, I think it was in the first round to the Orlando Magic, who I think were the number 1 seed with Shaq and Penny Hardaway. Came back, bounced back, ran off 3 straight NBA titles. Okay, Jordan had extreme adversity, but he was able to bounce back. If we look at Kobe, we look at his Colorado case with the rape allegations. At that point, Kobe, before that, he was on top of the league, and at one point he became public enemy number 1. Public enemy number 1. And Kobe would take a helicopter, fly to Colorado, go to court, fly back to Los Angeles, and go play games and drop 40 points. The level of concentration it takes to do that and emotional stability to be able to siphon off certain things in your mind. And that's when he said he created the Black Mamba, to just sort of compartmentalize his mind. For Kobe to be able to go through that, have so many people look down on him for what happened, bounce back from that, win 2 NBA championships in a row, become an even bigger cultural icon, is something that you rarely see. But Kobe also went through extreme adversity where he was in the center of the storm, at least the storm of the media and the world. LeBron James left Cleveland. People were burning his jersey when he left Cleveland. Former owner of the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think Dan Gilbert, wrote that scathing letter about him. Went to Miami, had the big decision thing, which turned out to be a huge mistake. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. You remember that? Not 5, not 6, not 7. Went there. The first year they lost. LeBron was horrible in those finals. Scored 4 points, I believe, or 6 points in one game. horrible. And at that point, people were just like, man, is this guy ever going to get over the hump? Now you look at LeBron, he's a 3-time NBA champion, possibly going for his 4th title. He was able to bounce back. All of these guys have had extreme adversity, but have bounced back and have become even better and bigger for it. Which now brings me to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, for the first time, is facing global scrutiny from the sports world for his performance in the final game of the playoffs. Number one, because the expectations were so high. Number two, because of the approach that the Clippers and these guys had towards the season. And now to see them sort of crumble under that pressure and him not show up in a major way brought all of the attention on him. And now everyone is down on Kawhi. Everyone is down on Kawhi. And the question becomes, will he bounce back from it? And for me, I believe 175% that Kawhi Leonard will bounce back from it, because every great player has gone through this level of adversity and they've all come back from it. And I believe he will be able to bounce back from it too. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me that this is the thing that Kawhi Leonard has in common with these guys or not? And do you think that he'll be able to bounce back from this level of adversity? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamers Pro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.